Greetings, I'm Dr. Michael Martirano, the proud superintendent of the St. Mary's County Public School System, and welcome to another edition of the Superintendent Spotlight. This is an opportunity for us to shine the light on the wonderful things happening in our school systems with representatives from our community, our student body, and our outstanding staff. Today I'm delighted to have in our attendance and in our presence Ms. Wendy Zimmerman, who is the proud principal of the Fairlead Academy, and Mr. Jake Heibel, who is the very proud principal of Great Mills High School. Our topic today is to discuss some very important things regarding our graduation of all of our students. This time of the year, being that we're at the beginning of May, where all of our attention is focused on the graduations at our 3 high schools and ensuring that we're doing everything for each one of our young people to get to that line of graduation. Today we're going to be talking about 2 very intense and assertive interventions that we're using in our school system to assist in that graduation goal for all of our young people. Our Fairlead Academy and what we're calling our APEX program, which is an online recovery offering for our young people to continue to move towards that goal of graduation. We fully recognize that if a student doesn't complete graduation and doesn't graduate from high school, that their life is destined for a lot of challenges and obstacles. So as a total school system, we are committed to doing everything possible to ensure that every young person is successful. So to that end, I have these wonderful individuals with us, and we're going to start, first of all, to both of you. Good afternoon. It's great to see you. Know that we were talking earlier, we all have very busy days, and I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to talk about these very important programs as I've just introduced. So I think today, as we continue with this, I want to try to do this. I want to get a little overview for the community so that they understand the components of the Fairlead Academy. Then I want to come back to you, Mr. Heibel, and talk a little bit about APEX, and then we'll talk about the commonality, because the goal of both of these programs, as we've stated, is to assist our young people in graduating so that they can see themselves in the future. So, Ms. Zimmerman, why don't we just start with what is Fairlead? Give us the components of what it actually is and why we're doing what we're doing with the Fairlead Academy.
Fairlead Academy was designed to support students who are struggling. Students struggle for many different reasons, and oftentimes will get into a cycle of failure. They might start high school and fail the 9th grade, and once they failed once, it's very difficult to get back on track and graduate from high school. So in order to intervene early, our students are identified in middle school, and they come to Fairlead Academy, part of St. Mary's County Public Schools, in the 9th grade, and then have the opportunity to stay with us through 10th grade, 11th grade, and through their 12th grade year. Some of our students do share a schedule with their home high schools. Right. They are always students of their home high school and have that connection to Chopticon, Leonardtown, or Great Mills, and come to us as a program, and we're able to support their different learning needs and different learning styles and give them the extra support they need in order to be successful.
Absolutely. You highlighted the fact of the identification of the students in middle school. We recognize working with our own students, with a research on students who are having some difficulties in school, the transitions between middle school and high school is a very critical year. And that's where a lot of the concerns start to emerge. So recognizing that, the goal of the freshman year, why don't you talk about that goal of the freshman year for students who are in the Fairlead Academy? How does it look different from a traditional high school, and what is the goal set by you and your staff for each one of the students in the program?
Our goal is really to support students in English and math, the 2 subjects where students struggle the most. In their 9th grade year, students will have 90 minutes of English and 90 minutes of math to help build their skills so they have an even stronger skill base when they move into the 45-minute classes in 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. We're also working on study skills, career planning, what career that they want to have when they graduate, what type of classes do they need to take in high school. Just really helping students build their skill base so that when they are in even more difficult classes in 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, they're prepared and ready for those classes.
And recognizing the goal is to get 7 credits.
7 credits and pass every single class, earn all 7 credits, and become a sophomore.
And the magical focus with the 7 is that, as you've already stated, that moves the young person then from freshman status to sophomore status. And that becomes critical as we continue to move towards that, achieving the 21 credits overall. But again, let me double back around. When we talk about the students who are experiencing challenges, that can not only come in the form of academic challenges, that can come in the way of discipline interactions, students who may have had a large amount of involvement in disciplinary actions, as well as then students not being in school, attendance. So those are 3 very clear variables and data points that you monitor. Am I correct in that assumption?
That is correct. We look at MSA scores as well. We look at their grades, and we look at mobility, if a student has moved often, because of the transitions once again. So there's a lot of factors that we take into account. And we take into account even teacher recommendations and counselor recommendations, because oftentimes the teachers and the counselors know the students best in middle school and can make very good recommendations for students to attend Fairlead.
Right. And as we've evolved, the beautiful thing about the timing right now is that obviously it's May, but it's the end of the first 4-year cohort. So this is our first group that we started with as freshmen. Why don't you tell me about the success of the program, where we started, because many of the young people who were in the program had a lot of challenges when they were identified. We started with a cohort of over 55 to 60 young people. A number of them have moved away. About 8 or 9 of those individuals have moved away. They're out of our control. Talk about the success of how this is all played out for us and played out for you, and the success for the students in the program.
Our first cohort did start with 59 students, and we have had 9 students move, and that's part of that mobility, students moving often.
So moved out of the county.
I moved out of the county or out of state, not just within the county. They're still in our program. Of our students that are still in St. Mary's County Public Schools and are seniors, we're going to have over an 85% 4-year on-time graduation rate.
That's unbelievable.
When we include students that have an opportunity to stay at Fairlead for an extra year, for a 5th year, we should have over a 90% graduation rate.
That's remarkable.
Every one of our students was identified as a high risk of dropping out of high school based on just all the information that we had on the students when they were in middle school. And we even look at elementary school attendance and things in elementary school as well.
That's predictive evidence. So the reality is that if we did not intervene with a level of urgency and development of this program, which is a truly break the mold kind of intervention, that the predictive evidence is that many of these students may not have been successful in high school. Many of these students may have dropped out of high school. We have to look at that predictive evidence regarding attendance, discipline, and the lack of maybe success in their academic program. But now, by virtue of placing them in a very intense intervention program with smaller class sizes, longer times of instruction, the goal of getting the 7 credits for their freshman year, and a complete wraparound services of support has allowed these young people now to be very successful, because they'll be part of our community. They now have their high school diploma, and they will see themselves in the future as being college ready and career ready. So I need to ask you, you know how important this program has been, and you have been just a guiding light in this overall program. I just want to hear sort of your raw emotion about how you feel about this right now, 4 years later, overall. How are you feeling about all of this?
That's a tough question on camera.
Yeah, I know.
Excited,
yes.
Definitely excited. A little bit sad that I'm going to be watching our first groups. You know, watching them. I interviewed them in 8th grade, and now they're graduating in 3 weeks. But I'm very excited for all of them, because I know what each student has overcome to reach their graduation, and not only just graduating from high school, but now they have skills, they have the base to even go further and do what they want to do, to go to college, to start a career, to start in a job, and they're really ready to become members of our community. And it's really exciting to watch them.
And I don't want to push a little further. I don't want to have a sort of an Oprah moment here, or Barbara Walters moment, where we make you cry on the set, because for me it's emotional. For me, it's a very, very satisfying experience. We know these young people. We know these children. They're our babies. We know them, and we recognize the value that they play in our community. And we know it just defines our values as a school system, that many of our young people have challenges, and we have to provide those extra levels of support and layers of support. And so we're all very, very happy. I can't wait till the culminating event and the graduation and the recognition ceremony that we're going to do with them here in the near future. But it really defines who we are as a school system, our culture, that every child matters, and the supports that we need to do budgetarily, but staff-wise, in the sense that we truly believe all children can and will learn, and every child should have an opportunity to be successful. And this program, Fairlead, and we have Fairlead 2 also, is very emblematic of that value system. So we're very proud of you. Let's shift here a little bit. We've got Mr. Heibel here as well. And I know he's very proud because many of the students who are in the Fairlead program are students, their home school is Great Mills. The community understands we pull from Great Mills, Chopticon, and Leonardtown. We have students coming from all three high schools, a whole new process of moving students through to meet the needs in the program. So dovetailing these two together, you're overseeing a very new, ambitious initiative, the APEX program, which is an online offering. So if you would, Mr. Heibel, just tell us a little bit about what APEX is in a nutshell and how it came to be.
APEX, well, I can start with the second question. We got an idea, an opportunity in July to implement this program in alliance with the Coleman Powell Foundation Alliance. And we had the opportunity to offer our students a new path, a new avenue, to recover credit if they had fallen behind, an opportunity to get back on track, to take online learning in a different format than traditional setting. It also allows students the opportunity to get ahead for original credit. So what we've structured throughout the course of a day is we have a one teacher dedicated to the program, the APEX program, 8 periods a day. And we also run classes after school in our evening program. Right. So it's provided an opportunity for students to recover, to get ahead, to really get back on track, and to continue to have that hope in terms of earning credits, which is what it's all about in high school and in education, towards graduation. So it's been a tremendous opportunity for our kids, another avenue, another tool in the toolbox, so to speak. Right. And to date, I'm proud to say that we've had over 217 students who have completed classes, rigorous classes, I might add. The online learning is not for everyone, and you have to be committed and dedicated to it. And our students have been. But just to have 217 kids as of right now, and we have many more still working on it, is just tremendous. It's a tremendous opportunity for our kids, because it's 217 kids that wouldn't have had that credit hadn't we had the program. So
it goes back to what I asked Mrs. Zimmerman before. Without this program, the Fairlead program, we have to think what would be happening with the students who needed that support, and how would they fare out. Very much is a case that we ran with a real level of urgency when, first and foremost, we were able to get this grant, one of 4 in America, and by all means the feedback we're getting is by far we're having a very successful implementation. They're very interested in our reports. But we have to ask ourselves, if we didn't have this program, the APEX program, what would be happening to those young people right now? And another piece of that is that it's an online offering. It defines the future of education in a non-traditional way. So why don't you walk me through that process? If this program wasn't there, how would we be addressing some of these needs for the students who are participating?
Well, traditionally, our kids, if they fall behind, would have to go to evening high school or summer school, and that in terms isn't always a successful path for our kids. They fall behind, and when they fall behind, especially in the ninth grade, they're more likely to be retained and not graduate and drop out. So we're hoping, we've offered this program, we targeted seniors in graduation, but we've targeted all students after we've got it up and running, where we're trying to catch kids before they fall behind in terms of unit recovery. Our teachers are starting to implement APEX within the classroom as a support in unit recovery. And I keep saying, I've said this over and over again, it's here to stay. Exactly. It's a new avenue. Kids are excited about it. I did say it wasn't for everyone, but it's, again, we view it as another tool in the toolbox to help kids be successful, and to date it has been.
Well, you're sitting in a very, very powerful position is what I want to say. Powerful in the sense that as a principal in the 21st century at Great Mills High School, you have at your disposal, availed to you, a variety of different interventions. So that if a young person isn't making it, you can say, this might be a student who needs the Fairlead program. And working with the counselors, identifying them, there's movement and shifting around with that. You now have the APEX program that allows for that intervention to occur. So what I'm seeing is, from a sort of a visual, is a series of safety nets. That if a child is falling and dropping behind, that there's a way for that recovery to happen. And that, again, is symbolic of the work that we do in St. Mary's County and the belief system with all of our young people. And APEX is remarkable in that sense. When you talk about, we've got to be clear, everybody understands, when we talk about recovery, let's define that a little further so the community understands. This is when a student would fall behind. You talked about unit recovery, grade recovery. Define that a little bit more explicitly.
Well, the idea is if a student has struggled in a particular concept or area and didn't receive the grade they would like to have received, a teacher now has the opportunity to say, you can go back, Johnny, and work on this unit on APEX, and maybe we can, if you learn the material, you can bring your grade up, and that can go to your overall success. In terms of recovery, if you fail a class, you have the opportunity with APEX to go back and retake the class. Right. So there are two differences there. We've mostly focused on students who have already failed a class or have to take a class for original credit. But as we move forward with the implementation of the program, we really view it as, especially next year with classes going year-long, that as we go through, if you didn't learn a concept, now the concept's online with the APEX, you can go back and relearn it, because really in the heart of all of it, that's what's most important. The kid learns it, understands it, and can grow from it.
So, as you can tell, we've had a wonderful dialogue with two outstanding professionals in the St. Mary's County Public School System, Mr. Heibel and Mrs. Immerman. Both of their work at both of their programs in their schools is associated with keeping young people in school, providing a very rich educational experience for each one of our students. So I'm delighted to be able to have this conversation because it truly reflects the values of the St. Mary's County Public School System, where we're about making certain that every young person in our school system is successful. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.